Geoff, let's talk about how far we have gone, because they have not yet had a roll call on this second proffered amendment from Matt Gaetz, which was introduced with a lot of controversy because he was repeating all kinds of untested allegations against Hunter Biden, trying to substitute Hunter Biden for the Joe Biden aspect of Article 1 in the abuse of power lines.
You're right about that, Andrea. A decided lack of self-awareness on the part of Congressman Matt Gaetz. And as you mentioned, he was checked by Congressman Hank Johnson, given that Gaetz has a record of a DUI arrest. But for the most part, setting aside those few glaring exceptions, the proceeding that we have seen today has been mostly subdued and orderly, given the way that things can typically go in this ultra-partisan committee. So yes, you heard from Democrats a recitation of the facts and evidence. Democrats trying to make the argument that the impeachment case that they are bringing is ironclad and thorough. You heard from Republicans a relitigation of the entire process that has got us to this point. Republicans making the argument that the evidence that the Democrats have offered is thin. So we've been through, two amendments. There are certainly several more to go, one expects. But this panel is inching slowly toward this vote on these two articles of impeachment. We do expect a 23-17 party line vote. It would normally be 24-17, but Congressman Ted Lieu is at home recovering from a medical procedure. Meanwhile, as this was happening, you have Steve Scalise, the minority whip. He sent an email to the Republican offices telling them to vote no on those articles of impeachment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi held her usual Thursday press conference where she talked to us reporters. I asked her a question about whether or not she was expecting to or preparing for more than two Democratic defections, two Democratic no votes when this impeachment vote hits the floor next week. So there are those two members who voted against the impeachment rules package some months ago. You have Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey and Colin Peterson from Minnesota. Both of them represent states that President Trump won in 2016. But the Speaker said what she said before, that she is not whipping this vote, meaning she is not pressing members and checking in with them and trying to make them vote one way or the other. In this case, it would be yes vote. She says that Democrats have to vote their conscience on this. The truth of it is she can afford to lose 17 Democrats and still have the numbers that she needs to get these impeachment articles moved off the floor, which would tee up a Senate trial early next year, Andrea.
And we have some of that briefing that Nancy Pelosi gave today. Let's play that now.
We have put forth our articles of impeachment. I'm very proud of all the committees. 6 committees have been working on this for a very long time. This is nothing swift about it, but it is urgent. And so we will be bringing the articles. The committee will work on it today. As you know, I don't know if it's this morning or this afternoon. That depends on the pace in the committee. And then next week, we'll take up something.
Geoff, I want to bring in Susan as well, who was there for that briefing. But let me ask you first, how many more amendments? We still have to see the vote on the Matt Gaetz amendment when they come back from the other business that they're doing on the House floor. And then how many more do you expect from the Republican side?
I would say anywhere between 5 to 7. The specific number is unclear. But yes, Republicans want to get on the record with all of the changes they want to make. Democrats, as we've seen unfold today, we were told going into this hearing that they weren't going to make any changes. They're not going to offer any amendments because the House Speaker and House leadership have already blessed these articles of impeachment as they're written. There was one change that Chairman Nadler made this morning, and that was to change Donald J. Trump to John Trump, to include the president's full name in the articles as they're currently written, Andrea.
And that change was a procedural one, which would give him,
right,
as having proposed an amendment, the right to take certain steps as the chair.
That's right. You're right about that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.